Right.
Right, and then it's municipal.
So we're kind of getting off track here. I'm going to
It's
call the
okay.
meeting.
Yeah,
Yes.
I just
Call the meeting
wanted, that's
back to
minutes.
order.
Yep.
You're on the.
But she just put down all the stuff.
The first thing we need to do is adjust the agenda. Does anyone have any additions, corrections?
I know.
To the agenda.
I have a correction. Your agendas all are correct. But what was posted on review and approved minutes of trustees meetings, I missed it, and it had the same thing from last month, which are already approved. So we will review and approve the trustees meetings from December 12th and December 21st. So motion.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
I'd like to make a change to this agenda too.
And also, due to not having feedback from Brian Moynihan, I would suggest that we table item 4 on the discussion items.
So that's taken. Are there
On
any
the-
other?
Just 4.
Lion Electric.
Yeah, we need to get his advice
Right,
on how to proceed with
Yeah.
that before we can do it.
okay.
BJ had something too.
What you got, BJ?
I'd like to take 5 and 6 in the discussion, put them at the very end. I'm also have some things I wanna bring up with you guys. My only thing is I'm not sure if it should be an executive session because it does include employees, money, things like that.
So we didn't warn that, so I don't know if we could do an executive without warning that, can we?
Yeah, I don't think we can.
Doesn't feel right.
We may have.
Can that part wait till next meeting? BJ?
Yes. Yeah, well, yes, it can. We might be able to do it without getting too much into detail because some of it I think you guys might want to deal with sooner than later, just so we don't get hit with any higher bills.
Okay.
That's number 5.
No, number 5 and 6, I just want to move to the end until I'm there. Just because I'm the one who added on, and I would rather be in person than online.
So
and if you're not in town,
I mean, they're at the end other than executive.
yeah, and if I'm not there by then, I wanted to push it to after the executive.
Okay.
Are you gonna head over in a little while?
My replacement gets here at 7,
Uh-huh. Okay.
and it takes me about 15 minutes. So yeah, I should be here.
Okay.
And then I'll go a little bit into this other stuff. And if you guys think, wait, we need to do this in executive, we'll just do it next time.
Great.
All right, so we can go to approving the minutes then, correct?
Yep.
Mostly approved minutes from December 12th and December 21st, 2020.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Minutes, it's unanimous, the minutes are approved. So,
Which is. You might be waiting for you to tell it to come up.
the public,
No,
Rosemary.
Rosemary, oh, because she would be next.
What would a policy look like with, in the minutes, Troy wrote in his thing that he goes, I recommend the village discuss a policy regarding how to manage its existing transformer inventory to ensure a minimum supply for existing customers while creating a process for.
Because they were.
I think we're gonna pass that on to Ann.
Yeah, it sounds like-
The transformers are like 3 years out.
Right.
So we have what we need now, and he
I
was
think he said he found a company
Used
to
ones.
get it sooner, quicker.
some used one from Morrisville, I believe,
Yeah,
is what he was gonna do.
that's,
That are dual,
Right.
they can go two different, voltages.
Yes. Yeah.
but what would a policy look like for that? Like, what would
That's a
you,
good question.
what would you do?
Basically to say that we want 5 transformers in stock at all times, new ones,
Does that have to be a
rebuilt.
policy?
Diane's question is about Troy's recommendation on this report,
Transformer availability.
a policy.
Right.
And we're saying,
Does it need to be a policy?
Well,
It wouldn't hurt.
in this environment, it would be a good idea.
To have it act as a policy.
Right, that way, if a very motivated new customer comes in and starts leaning on people and say, they really want that built, and we don't have enough transformers to have emergency ones on hand in case, people have an outage. There needs to be something right and say, hey, we're not doing that.
or you're paying the extra that it's gonna cost us to get this.
The thing is, you can't get transformers.
Yeah,
That's the problem.
It's like
2 years out.
148 to 200 weeks out.
So we need to be able to protect our current customers.
So what would that policy look like? I mean, I don't understand. Just,
Tom?
I want to see that.
Like I said, we have 4 new ones, 3 used ones, 3 variables.
and that, so you make
If
that,
we cannot maintain that many in reserve, we can't do new service.
but don't we know that anyway? So I guess what I'm saying is, we make the policy now, we don't have those. Do we have those transformers right
Yeah.
now?
What we need, yeah.
To do that policy, we do
Rosemary, is
have
it
that.
something should be signing?
We have the bare minimum of what we've always kept, if I'm not mistaken.
And so do we need to up it then? Is that,
We've got one order.
okay,
Why we really need to up them if we're not gonna go in space. We just need to have enough to replace.
right.
And when's the last time the one blew up behind the West College in the middle of the night? I had to woke you up, 'cause it woke me up.
Yeah, yeah.
We are.
Okay. You guys signing the orders? Yep.
So you know that we hired Ann, right?
Oh, you did? Very good.
Starts 23rd.
January?
Yes.
That's right, we need to actually, we didn't have the motion to be able to get a computer coming. Computer and probably phone, if I'm not mistaken.
And a space for her to work.
No, clearly motion for that, I can do for that. Or we can take care of that.
Is that something we can just add? That need to be.
No, you need to do something. This is.
Oh,
What did we do for her?
I'll wait till then.
I think it came in more than that, by the time we get all the monitors and stuff. But 2,500. Yeah.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion. That we purchase laptop and phone for Ann Crockett. An amount of $2,500.
So
Second.
Second from CJ second.
Oh, any discussion?
I assume you need an amount not to exceed 2,500.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And Eric will take care of that. Along with the lawyer's assistants or whatever.
All in favor of Ken's motion?
Aye.
Aye, passes unanimously.
Hey, I do have a question. Is she gonna need any special programs, Eric?
I don't know until she gets there. I'm gonna start off with just making sure she has Adobe Acrobat and the Office suite.
Okay.
I'm ready for the budget report.
Okay, I handed out the current budget status report.
There's nothing to sign on this, right?
Maybe on the second page.
Oh,
Or it might be on one of them that's on
Oh.
the back.
I need one of those. back
Yeah, I
then.
think the one I
That's-
just stacked.
Yeah.
Or that one, let's see if there's another one somewhere.
Budget status, okay.
Is it on the back page?
No, it's second page in. I think. Yeah, I need to sign it too. then.
Is there any concerns you have, Rosemary, on any of the budget?
That's
The electric department's my major concern.
Um,
Sales are down almost $130,000 from what we budgeted. I double checked to make sure we had December in there, and it was in there.
So this total revenues at the bottom of the first page, we had we budgeted 436, but we actually got 472.
Yes, that's the general department
Right.
and
Oh.
fire
You're saying that electric is down
is on page
5. Oh. Total revenue.
in the middle of page 5. Sales of electricity,
Oh, yeah.
we're at 94.15%. That's
Our-
billed.
Our estimate
200
of the budget was way off.
Where is it down? I mean,
Why?
Across
Yeah.
the board.
wow.
Sales and revenue.
People are being more efficient.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's exactly.
Residential is down to 93.5%. Large commercial is down to 92.
Is Johnson State up from last year?
I don't know. It's down from what we budgeted.
And for this budget, Rosemary, we were considering using how much ARPA was? Do you remember? It's 40 dollars. So even with that consideration, we're still
Yeah.
down
We're-
$75,000.
Yeah, we haven't received the December power bill yet, so we won't get that until probably 2 or 3 more months.
What does insurance proceeds mean? Because that was.
A claim, insurance claim.
So that means
We didn't budget anything and we received $4,800.
someone received.
Mhm.
So it's probably not gonna change a whole lot between now and the, when is the end of the budget year?
December 31st.
Oh,
As far
We
as
got the
getting
power
stuff-
bill,
Getting
yeah.
stuff in, it's gonna be later this year.
Yeah. Because bills are still coming in.
So it's actually going to be worse than the whole.
Correct.
Yeah.
Your best guess,
Probably 50 to 75,000.
more. So we're pushing
No, total.
total. And that was with the ARPA funds or without,
Without.
Oh. That's better than we thought.
Well, let's hope. It's hard to tell because depreciation is not really a cash account. You don't
Right.
spend money
Just-
for that.
And then the power purchased is like way down
Wow, if you look at the total, still got one more bill.
to pay.
Yeah.
Do you know what that is?
No.
Approximately
Probably 90,000
90?
at least.
so that'd be added on to the 75.
Mhm. No.
No.
No, they added on to the 1.1.
Yeah. So it'd be 1 million.
So in reality, there's absolutely nothing we can do about this until we deal with the next budget. To make a shortfall. Am I correct? Are we gonna need to borrow money to pay for this or until then?
I think we're okay for short term.
And if we had to, would we be able to secure ARPA funds? Not necessarily to, just as a loan for this, or could we do the revolving loan fund?
To do a short term revolving loan fund.
Would be our best interest?
Yeah, we don't pay ourselves any interest.
So that would be
That's
So-
one possibility.
Mhm.
If we get a rate increase, how
Mhm.
long is it gonna take us to see that, like a year or two?
it
from
sounded
now?
like we weren't getting that until the end of the summer anyway, correct?
Yeah, we don't even get the hearing until May, right? And then who knows how long the hearing
Mhm.
takes. Right.
So that wouldn't be implemented until 2025 budget.
I would say 2024 budget.
It would go in on, okay.
Yep. It should be good.
According to the news, it sounds like just about every utility is going in for a rate increase.
Well, co-op went this spring and then they want another 20%.
Mhm.
That's why I'm scared of what ours could possibly be. No, the water and sewer won't be as drastic, but that's still gonna climb heavily.
That was one of the bright spots. I was surprised that both
Wait, there's a
water
price?
sales and sewer sales are above budgeted.
Yay,
Nice.
Not a lot, but a
Yay.
little bit.
yeah, take it.
Let's see, water sales were. At 102%.
And what's that from? Just people using
People using water.
more water?
Now they have leaking pipes.
We have a potential, large electric customer that's, I'd say, better 50% of the figures are coming on. That's the pit. Now, Trustees used to be.
Plus the girl farm when it gets rolling.
Right.
And that's possibly electric too, right, with Percy?
That's all it is.
Yeah. they're
Oh,
on-
okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah, they're on diesel generator.
Yeah.
90% on water.
Yeah.
No, we're the only ones in their area that take a hook up to, correct?
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, just like those people in the line that want a petition to get off. Co-op.
Well, he's on select board, tell him good luck.
Our line goes by them, but we're their only choice.
I don't know, Morrisville's not very far from.
Yeah.
Right
So-
over the hill.
So it seems how we're getting close to talking budget.
Scotland, yeah.
Should I task you or Eric with possibly coming up with ways to, other than just the revolving loan fund, to clear that shortfall? Or is that something that you think we're just gonna have to deal with right on the spot when we're doing the budget?
Well, if you want to go to the bank, it's probably 3 or 4 or 5% interest.
But that, well, I'd like to do our revolving loan fund if that's possible, or possibly use ARPA funds in between, but I don't know if that's even. So ain't had anybody hit the revolving loan fund again yet besides the fire department, correct? And they haven't
We've
yet.
got $220,000 in that account. It's still nobody any good.
And how much
So the
are you
bank-
gonna have to borrow? 50 or 60, you
Maybe.
think? Something like that.
I would suggest that's the best route. And then we can get that on the books for Steve Farnham when he's building our rate case, that's part of the expenses.
Of course, sometimes it makes a difference in our cash flow when the college pays their bill. If they play it close to due date, it makes us a little more tighter if they pay it sooner. But they usually pay before the first of the month, each month.
We should be better with them with their dorms full now,
Mhm.
it slugs people.
That's for what, 3 months or something
Till the
like
end of March.
Well, the winter rates, it's. They're gonna use a lot.
Well, we
more
should be back to
electricity in the winter
normal.
Than they do in the summer.
We should be back to normal.
Right,
that.
exactly.
Yeah, but
Close.
Because they were always full.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to scare us with, Rosemary?
Nope. I
None.
think there's enough to be scared about.
Done scaring.
Whoops.
Was the fire department not coming in tonight?
Oh, I've got a report, read on there. And they're last, and they're getting the list. All right, so. I'll do water wastewater report. Okay. Monthly chief operations report for December 2022. One, operational status of wastewater plant and call outs. EDMR and WR-43 was submitted to the state. Still working on belt press rehab. We've done two to three solid runs with it, and a few more parts. There's some adjustments. Things are coming into place nicely. E. coli samples were done on time and well noticed. Rip channels were pumped and cleaned out by Wind River. Dropped off old UV bulbs to the transfer station. Worked on some rust mitigation on some piping in the plant, and have been painting and freshening pipes, stairs in the sludge room, press room, and influent areas. Blowers were serviced. Completed belt changes if needed in grease. Operational status of water plant and call outs. Coliform samples were negative. Tim and Eric did a walk around sanitary survey with Heather Collins from the state of Vermont. She will follow up with Eric on the results. And that with any instructions, issues, or questions. Pressure pumps rotated at all the meter houses in KUN. Both Tim and Luke took several continuing ed classes for both water and wastewater. Luke and Tim spent some time on an alarm issue that was happening at Clay Hill Booster Station. After making some pressure adjustments on the panel, it seems to have cured the problem and should not create any unnecessary call out.
What was the wastewater? You know how he usually puts a percentage?
No, that's
I think-
the water.
Oh, that's sewer.
No, that's the water loss for the.
Yeah.
You
water
didn't put
loss.
that in
He
here.
didn't put it in.
He didn't put it.
So Tim is doing it right now.
Okay,
While Dave is on.
okay.
We have. The electric department, water light report for. Like 2023, but it's for December. The crew completed the following tasks. Responded to an outage on Gould Hill Road on December 17th, which affected 21 customers. The cause was heavy wet snow. Power was restored in 2 hours. Provided approximately 7 hours of, wait a minute. Yeah, I'm getting ahead of myself. Interrupt that. My report's before theirs.
Oh,
Village manager report, January 9th, 2023. The Memorial County Planning Commission has assigned Rob Moore as a project manager for the Water and Electric Garage project. I met with him and Tori Helwig from his office last Thursday to get that project back moving forward. Rob is good at making discrete mini projects to leverage as many grants as possible.
isn't he with Vermont Trans? Is he not? V-Trans? No, just LCPC.
Yep.
Okay.
The water and light garage security cameras are operating. Our Efficiency Vermont Tailored Communities landing page is up and running. It's pretty sharp. It can be accessed at efficiencyvermont.com/Johnson. It'll be in the news section on our homepage. And I made my first front porch phone posted on it today, which has the link. In addition,
Excuse me, the security cameras, are those the ones down in our garage?
yes,
And where are those linked to?
they are.
They come to the office, or they go to?
They're right now, they're cellular. And they have 4 gigs of storage within themselves.
Yeah.
And so the storage is actually in the cameras gives you like 3 weeks of storage, and you can access them with a password from the cell. I'm actually purchasing a iPad to be the home for that, and also be used for GIS mapping
Does
stuff.
it come to your phone if there's activity there? Do you get notified?
Not currently. We're gonna leave it mostly at home on the iPad, and the password will only be for Nate and myself.
So if there's a problem, then you'll look at the film. Otherwise, you're not gonna worry about
Right,
it.
they're motion detected cameras, and we're only gonna look at it if there's a problem.
We were hoping you would volunteer to.
Yeah.
to look at it.
I'll tell you, I have it set up on my phone.
I'm not gonna have it alert me at 2 a.m. that a coyote walked by.
Exactly, that's what.
Oh, it could be a nice spot.
Yeah. So. In addition to budgets and onboarding of a new position, my winter focus will include a draft out job description for the assistant water light foreman, formerly known as lead lineman. And bringing the remaining job descriptions up to date. I'll also be drafting a new personnel manual. A major windstorm on December 22-23 that knocked out power to much of Vermont, including large parts of all of our closest neighbors, caused 0 outages for the Village Johnson Water Works Department. While luck always has some play in it, much of your luck is made by preparation. Great credit is due to our crew as the many hours they spent during regular hours cutting brush and locating and eliminating dead trees that threaten the lines paid off in spades. Hyde Park was greatly benefited by this as our crew was available and instrumental in getting their power back, which for anyone that has a question, that they were billed for that.
I was gonna say,
We actually saved money due to that storm because most of Friday's regular hours are being paid for by Hyde Park.
so their hourly wage is billed to them.
Not
Or do we
necessarily,
give them,
like
With
for instance,
benefits.
it's hourly plus benefits. It's like, for instance,
okay,
if we charge them $70 an hour a day.
okay,
And what about if we have a budget?
And then on overtime, we charge, 1.5 times that, and we charge for the equipment.
okay.
So kudos to everybody, and I'd also like
Yeah.
to send out condolences to Nate's family. So if you can pass that on for us, that would be great.
Yeah. That was sad.
Yep. Okay, now back to the electric part. The crew completed following tasks. Responded to an Good Hill, December 17, 21 customers caused of heavy wet snow. Power restored in 2 hours. Provided approximately 7 hours of mutual aid assistance to Hyde Park Water and Light on December 22nd, related to high wind event that caused outages in Hyde Park service territory. Worked with the contractor at 807 Footbrook Road to install 2 new utility poles that are part of a line relocation project, and also completed necessary right-of-way cutting at that location. Responded to a call at 560 Route 15 West for a complaint with flickering lights. All connections on the village side of the service were replaced, and this resolved the issue. Began right-of-way cutting on Plot Road, repaired various streetlights that were out in the village, cleaned all dielectric tools, completed monthly meter reading, high-low checks, substation checks, and dig safes. Water and sewer. The crew removed a manhole riser ring at 415 Railroad Street at the town's request to resolve a road plowing issue. Removed the cover of the Westcott Osgood well as part of the state's sanitary survey. That was pretty cool. They take the crane in this huge concrete cover. General Department. Clearing debris out of the cold spring after the high wind event on December 21-22. Completed winter sidewalk maintenance as needed. Yep, and over. Safety. The crew attended the December NEPA safety training. The topic was chainsaw and tipper safety. Administrative. Nolan Consulting completed the following tasks. They created 2 invoices of the most recent mutual aid provided to Hyde Park Water and Light, reached out to Green Mountain Electrical Supply to obtain a status update on the line materials order that was placed in December. Continued working on the 10-pole line relocation project, planning on Clay Hill, in the process of putting together cost estimate for that project. Made arrangements with Alexander Tree Service to cut 2 large danger trees at 807 Footbrook Road. Placed an order with TNR Electric to restock the village transformer inventory. The expected date of delivery will be in approximately 40 weeks, which is considerably shorter lead time than the other entities I reached out to. Additionally, we were able to order dual voltage transformers, which will create a savings for the village in the future. Reached out to village's contact at Line Electric multiple times regarding reimbursement of the village's deposit on an electrical bucket truck. At this time, Line has indicated they will need formal cancellation of the order in writing before they will commit to returning the deposit. I also updated the village's contract at the state for the grant regarding the status of the project. Work with the local contractor to answer questions about the process to connect the property to village water. Began reaching out to contractors to assist the village repairs to the R2 breaker at the substation. Currently, the control panel is not communicating with the breaker. Made arrangements for the annual substation transformer oil testing. Work Worked on monthly invoice coding, continue speaking with Nate daily to discuss scheduled work and answer any questions he has.
So no, that right there is gonna be Ian's job, correct?
Yes.
So maybe you could send her that, just because we didn't hit on a lot of that stuff. That would be a good idea to send her what Troy did last month to say, this might be a
Read the last
heads
couple
up
of
for-
months from her.
Except for the one thing, work with a local contractor to answer questions about, village water. She may not be able to. do
Correct.
that.
Absolutely. But we try to consider the past few reports just for her information.
I think that's one of Nate's strong points is the water.
It is. It is.
And Eric.
Yeah.
Well, I have a question.
That's right. Yeah, we get you.
I have a question on that mutual aid one. Would that be something that Nate would do since it's mutual aid and Troy didn't go to it? Nate and the guys went to it.
Well,
The invoicing of it, we'll see where it falls between Nate and Ann. It's done on their estimator program, so if that program resides on Ann's computer, Nate can just give her the hours.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hours and equipment.
Right.
So that Westcomb Osgood thing with that, what does that mean when you said the crane lifted that cement cover? Is that so the state can test?
Right, so the state needs to look at the wellhead and make sure that the screen is on, all the bolts are tight, all that stuff. So the wellhead is inside of a big cement, like manhole
Yeah.
structure with a huge concrete cover.
Hmm.
So they just went with the crane.
So who provides that crane?
It's,
The state
It's
comes
ours.
with all the hours? We did it, we do it,
yes, it's electrical like,
part of us.
yeah,
And then they just put the cover back on and everything's all
yeah,
It's just our big butter truck.
yeah, just, yeah.
right.
yes.
all these write-offs, Rosemary, them are
So that's
all,
next is, yes, so these, we need a motion to accept the write-off list for electrical billing. These are accounts that are in arrears that the people basically left and there's no way to get in contact with them and they're just.
We sent them
Not
to,
worth our time to hire a lawyer to
Right.
chase
we
it.
sent them to our collections agency and no, they were not able
They
to.
can, you know,
These are from 2018.
these are like 2008. Yeah,
Are they on those people's credit now?
should be,
Mhm.
yeah.
And if they ever come back onto our system, we make them pay it up where they can get reconnected.
Right.
Gotcha.
But just to clean up the
The book.
books, we need to write these off.
but going to the collections, it went on their credit report is what I believe BJ's.
Mhm.
Yep.
Okay, we're looking for a motion.
I make a motion that the 2018 electric account write-offs in the amount of $1972.99 be written off the books
Second.
For 2022.
for 2022.
So what year was this?
So the 2018 write-offs are being written off in 2022 books.
Second.
Any more discussion? All in favor of, the motion?
I
Aye. Unanimously.
Not really, but
Yeah, most of
What are you
them are
gonna
probably
do?
college students.
Reluctantly.
This is one of the lower
I
lower
tried down
years.
before it didn't work.
Johnson Fire Department report. Calls, JFD responded to 10 calls, 6 calls during the daytime and 4 calls at night. Average duration was 82 minutes. The nature, 1 automatic alarm, 1 CO alarm, 2 medical assists, 3 vehicle crashes, 1 chimney fire, 1 hazmat, and 1 mutual aid carbon monoxide situation. The average number of firefighters that responded was 12. The total hours of service is 168. We completed an above average call year and all indications are that demand will continue to moving forward. Budget planning for 2023 is complete and was approved by the Board of Trustees at their December 12th meeting. Correspondence and contract information has been distributed under separate cover to the pertinent towns.
Can I ask why demand will how can they say demand will continue moving forward?
Well,
Why do they
it's been
say
the trend. It's been the trend,
I mean, that's trend. Statistics.
right? So the,
So out of, look at their last 12 reports, it's gone up and up and up. That what you're saying?
This might shed a little light too. I'll throw this out there. This is the 2022 in review call log. There was 34 alarms, 17 structure fires, 16 medical assists, 22 motor vehicle accidents, 9 CO calls, 7 smoke reports, 4 brush fires, 3 wilderness rescue, 2 water rescue, 2 wildland fires, 2 station coverages, 2 unpermitted burns, 2 odor investigations, 2 propane calls, 2 false alarm, 1 chimney fire, 1 ME assist, I'm not sure, medical examiner maybe. 1 elevator incident, 1 camper extrication, 1 animal rescue, 1 grass fire, 1 public assist, 1 rekindle. And 10 mutual aid calls for North Hyde Park and Eden, 9 for Cambridge Fire Department, and 2 for Hyde Park, 1 for Stowe.
That was
Total hours.
22?
Total hours of 152 of 3/4 hours.
That's all that was for all of 22.
Where'd you get that information? In the,
Facebook Fire Department,
oh, okay.
they post that stuff.
Well,
all the
that's
time.
nice to read.
So
Thank
when
you.
they do mutual aid, do they bill these?
No, it's different.
Mutual aid,
than
so
that.
papers will come here and help us.
It's not like the electric.
We don't want to pay them when we need their help. They don't want to pay us when we need their help.
well, the electric, it used to be that way. But they're in a situation where they cannot return the favor. So if they can't return the favor,
Yeah.
you know, all of us pay cash.
Well, so I would look at it as emergency services and electric's a business.
Right. So all the rest of that stuff is just the respective town contracts, those need no action as it just required signature of the chair and it's been signed and delivered.
And I just want to point out that Eric did a really professional, good job of putting all this contracts together. And a shout out.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't think
clear.
we ever had contracts before, did we?
Yes, we just didn't really get into them as well.
Yeah, because, you know,
You just never saw them because they only had to be signed with the chair.
oh, okay. Yeah, they look really nice.
So
So now the contracts that you did, they're all signed by the towns.
they've been signed by Steve and witnessed by me and Marla and sent to the towns.
Okay, so they haven't accepted.
We're
it
waiting
yet.
for them to come back.
Do they do that before there's town meetings or do they wait till after? Does
They
that
put it in
go
their
on their
budget.
town
They
meeting?
do,
They do it
yeah,
for
they're
their
doing it now.
Well, they won't accept it until it's passed its budget.
Mhm, mhm.
I mean,
So everybody carries, insurance for. I guess I don't understand number 4. In order to limit both party exposure to loss, the parties mutually agree to carry insurance
Right.
covering.
Oh, towns hall. Yeah, we're insured up to yin.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, it's like me when I go to your house and work, I need to have liability insurance to cover your stuff.
okay.
Most towns are insured through VLCT passive. Passive,
Well,
yeah. I mean, it includes liabilities, errors and omissions, you name it.
We tried to get to see if they would pay our legal costs, but they wouldn't, but they sometimes will.
Right. So do you want to do the one in order? You want to skip 1 and go to 2, or what's your wish, Mr. Chairman?
To do
We're down to action items.
action items. So we have, the sidewalk, is that the first one?
no,
First,
but
the 2 hour ideas from each trustee.
Oh, that, oh,
that one might take a long time. Why don't we just,
Take them out.
5 years.
yeah, well.
2
there- you
ideas.
can't just say.
Reach that limit.
No, I, agree, but there's gonna be a lot of discussion.
Okay, I'm gonna go first, because mine'll be,
So the question is, we want to put that later in the meeting.
Yeah, put that later.
Let's do the sidewalk.
Yeah.
Okay. Sidewalk. There had been a lot of problems this year so far,
How come?
There's,
Yeah, no,
yeah, yeah.
but the village dire need of a sidewalk policy in order to, deal with customer concerns and protect us, from frivolous complaints.
Some of them are frivolous and some are.
Right, but so some things are incidental to doing the job that you just can't help it. If you put your fence in 4 inches from the sidewalk, that's your fault.
Yeah, that's.
If you plant flower gardens 4 inches from the sidewalk, that's also your fault.
And it always helps when somebody is really complaining to just be able to show them this piece of paper with it.
And so this basically outlines that. It also, this is if you guys so choose. Item 4.2. I put in a standard of for holidays and weekends that don't really expect it's not going to fire until we got 4 inches.
I agree.
That's a little bit of you should boost.
And I forgot, who is it that determines, is it May, on when do they come in?
So yeah, I've got that's an internal policy that we put in that. It used to be self-dispatch, whoever's on call was able to just decide they're gonna go and put in sidewalks, which was costing us too much money. So now
I like.
they don't go in until Nate tells them they go in. Nate or myself, or actually I even will let Jason, because he keeps the ear to the ground, even though he's not town, it's not village.
It's right here
He
though.
knows
Yeah.
what's going on.
Yeah.
So,
No. But there's only one thing that I had a problem with on this, and that's
Okay.
because I live right where the sidewalks get plowed.
mhm.
Is, I can't find it now, but it was basically, let me see, I wrote it in my notes, it was that no hand, what did it say?
Number 4.3.
Yeah, well,
well, how are we gonna do that? How are we gonna do that? If you gotta get out and clean out that Cold Spring you guys wanted all
That's-
clean last year.
That's not the sidewalk, that's different. We're talking, they all know that they need to hand shovel that, they need to hand shovel out here.
yeah.
This is just for the
It's not the sidewalk. So I'll tell you what my concern with that was. I was walking down School Street after, and they were actually plowing the sidewalk when I was going in, it was like 8:30 in the morning, maybe 9. The snow that was piled in some people's driveways was so high, when there was a lawn there, it could have been pushed onto the lawn more than the driveway. The lawn part didn't have as much snow, but anyway, the driveway, if there had been an emergency, there is no way those people could have gotten through that driveway. I mean, it was this deep.
That may be so. But I can tell you, you can ask Diane about getting out of her driveway.
Oh, I know, but that's a
You
state.
can ask me about getting out of my driveway when I've seen it this tall.
I know,
So that's,
but I think for goodwill, I
Well,
would think you're in the village,
Pile it.
you
Not in
know,
the driveway.
it could back that bobcat up a little bit and push that away. I don't care if they leave a pile of snow there. This was above and beyond what anybody could have. You know,
Well, that's something we
yeah,
again, I don't agree with that one bit.
no,
You're talking about not plowing the sidewalks till there's
Well-
4 inches of snow for people to walk on and get hurt, and then they sue the village for falling down on a nicey sidewalk. Don't realize whether that's a fact. And
4.6 covers what you're talking about.
And then we have no drawback or offset when the state comes through and plows after we just cleaned the sidewalk all the way down through here, and it's full again.
Yeah.
It is 4.2.
So your easement out to a road is maintained by you and you only, and that's according to the state, town,
I
village.
still think what I saw that day was excessive.
Right, but that's.
I mean, I don't think it happens.
That's a,
You know, I don't think it happened.
that's an incident, and that's something that, it's like
And,
that.
and it turned out that, I don't even know who it was that was plowing. But the homeowner actually stopped them when they came back through and said, they said, I cannot get this out of my driveway, it's so.
And they did.
Chunks, and they pushed it, and they didn't do it, clean it all out,
Well,
but they moved out what the big things
Good.
there, what big chunk.
In a big storm, it's not gonna all just go.
Exactly. And
Your easement is your own responsibility.
And I didn't put it on here, but when it comes right down to brass tacks, the village bylaws say that snow removal on the sidewalk is the responsibility of the adjacent property owner.
Yeah,
Is it for snow removal? I know it was for the lawn and the grass. I don't know it was for snow. Cause I know a lot of towns, Burlington and areas that are like that.
Yep.
and I do think the 4-inch
I
sticks.
think you covered a lot of these bases, Eric. I think you could have been a lawyer.
Like I said, the only thing I have an issue with is the 4 inches or less.
That's why I'm bringing it to, do we want that or not? I'm
Yeah.
trying to- it's a-
No, I see you got it on
Intent to save money.
I see you got it on the weekends, but I would eliminate it from holidays and weekdays, definitely, holidays. I'm sure there's not a lot of people out, but there is at times,
I just said holidays are our most expensive days.
I get it, but I think one lawsuit could make up for that.
And I think people expect it.
I think you're-
No,
I think you're. I think the word we're looking for. But the town has, immunity from much of that.
Yeah, if there's negligence involved, you aren't gonna be immune.
but you could say that about our uneven sidewalks.
Right.
Yep, and that can happen too. That's why we
Those are
spend
bad.
all the money to fix them.
So if you're acting as a per policy, is that negligence?
Excuse me?
If you're going as per public policy, is that negligence?
Mm,
I just feel that our sidewalks in Johnson should be as clean as they can be cleaned and as maintained as well as they can be. I think
Well, we've got.
I think we could easily save money by closing the Cold Spring for the winter because nobody's to be drinking that anyway. That would save, I'm just being serious. That's something we could save money on. You're talking manual labor on that and a lot of salt. So,
I don't.
Me either. There's so many people that use that spring.
yeah,
That would be
it's
devastating.
not a spring. Don't
Well,
call
it
it a
doesn't
spring.
matter. Well, say water,
Use that.
source of water.
Undrinkable, palatable water.
That's their choice.
We don't have enough signs up there.
Yeah, but if we clean it, it's letting them think that it's a drink if they don't read.
Well. Just from seeing, reactions, I don't need a vote to say that would lose 3-2, so.
That well.
We're voting on it. I was making a statement
I know,
as went to last year about this long conversation.
right,
And we're talking about not plowing the sidewalks to save money instead of where we could save money that hardly anybody uses in the winter. And they shouldn't be drinking it, which they are.
Mhm.
So,
Right.
Well, that spring has been there for, I don't even know how many. We've never had a complaint about anybody.
so if we got 4 inches of snow, the town's plowing and the state's plowing. So that means the Main Street sidewalks are gonna have 8 or more inches of snow on them. Railroad Street will also.
No, because if they had 8 inches of snow, they'll be out plowing it.
I just said if there's 4 inches, they're gonna be out plowing.
Yeah.
So when they pile it on our sidewalks, and we have 4 inches already, we're gonna have at least 8 inches of snow on our sidewalks, all the way down Railroad Street, Pearl Street, School Street, Main Street,
Because you have the road snow on top of your snow.
You're gonna have that.
on every road.
So that means they plow twice a day.
So,
I,
but this is your policy, so you put the change that you wish to see.
I walk those sidewalks.
Yeah, and I might be trying to do it when I'm 85. I mean,
I
you're
think-
young, it doesn't.
I just,
I think if it becomes a problem, I say we accept it the way it is. If it becomes a problem, then we come back and change it. But let's try it and see how it goes.
I agree. Because they come out and plow
It's
sometimes
reasonable.
when there's.
better be ready for Kyle to call you because there are walkable sidewalks in the town that's been acceptable.
If she calls, then we'll deal with it. But I think let's try it and see what happens.
Well, I fully disagree. I do not think it should be a set inch.
No, but she walks.
Yeah,
Well, that's a, put in the policy as an expectation. I mean, obviously, if the sidewalks are glass, some of those come in to stop.
yeah, ice is a different story.
Yeah.
Ice is a whole different story. Now,
In general, they do a good job.
They do the best of any I've seen in town,
mhm, mhm.
and that's also, you know, with that comes our overtime law.
Yeah.
And that's, I'm trying to tighten it up.
I
So
think it's worth a try.
I don't.
I think that's worth a try as much as I think the Cold Spring should not be closed.
Sounds like you want both your apples.
I just, you know.
Okay, so let's spend all kinds of money keeping the Cold Spring open, but let's let people walk through 8 inches of snow around the village. That
the
makes a
problem
lot
is
of
not gonna
sense.
Shovel out the Cold Spring.
That makes a lot of sense. Oh, and then when they get back, then they gotta make sure to clean out everybody's driveway that's on the
It
sidewalk.
costs us to keep the Cold Spring open.
the guys are already called in when they're doing it. And actually, they don't even do it. They don't. I don't think they do that on overtime. They do that once the day starts. So you're already paying them.
They're already on the job.
Even if they're called in. So,
Right. And
Well,
if
they
they're
do.
called in, they're getting 3 hours anyway. They might as well do it.
They get, if they get called in, they're guaranteed 3 hours.
I mean, my personal opinion about the Cold Spring is that, number one, you shouldn't have to pay for water and all the plastic. It's unbelievable how much, if the Cold Spring can eliminate some of that rate. And some people just don't want to, I don't think you should have to pay them for water.
don't you pay for water monthly where you live? Through the village of Jennison?
Yeah, I put a filter on my thing and it's
Yeah,
not,
that was my point. Well, I was just saying that you pay for water. I spent $7,500 to drill a well.
the people that are picking up water, I think they're just drinking it. I think they're still paying for the water to bathe and wash their dishes. and
Although when there was no power over Christmas, there were people at the Cold Spring with big coolers, filling their coolers with water because they had no water. And that was the only place they could get water.
I feel if we do
Not
that,
true, but-
I feel if we do that, it's just letting people think we are letting them do it with E. coli. Like we're letting them down there to drink out water if we plow it. I think it takes all the risk off us if they go down themselves and we don't maintain it. Because if we maintain it, it's basically saying to them, hey, this is good water, come down and drink it.
Just being there, it says that.
But
So
you're also saying that if you don't maintain it and they go down there and they get hurt, then they're gonna sue you, so.
No, if
You're
we
not
don't.
worried about the sidewalks, but you're worried about them getting hurt in the Cold Spring?
No.
You really need to think about that. It's
That's not what he said.
exactly
If
what.
we don't maintain it, we're not at risk. If we do not maintain it, we are not at risk for it. That's their prerogative to go off trail. And if they get hurt, they get hurt.
Simple sign that says not maintained during the winter
A
months.
sign there that use it at your own risk.
There is one,
Bring it
but
up and take a vote,
There is one.
whether or not they think that then spring should be closed. It should be brought up at village meeting and town meeting. Do you think we should? close
has nothing to do with the town when it's a village.
Well, the town people.
The town has no say in the village. You gotta get that understood.
If the town wants to maintain it, let them.
Well, if you closed it, it's the town people that live out on the back roads that use that as much as anybody. They're the one, they're the ones. that are-
But we can't put ourselves at risk because a few people want to drink E. coli water.
Well,
It's,
I would
it's,
suggest that we have two different motions. One's the policy and one's whether or not we.
Yeah, separate out the spring from the sidewalk policy.
Okay, so I want to pass off this policy till we can get Nate in here to tell us what he thinks about the 4 inches.
He's already reviewed it. He likes it.
I haven't heard from him. I want to see Nate tell me that in person because I know what Nate's going to say when I say exactly what I said. What happens when Nick when they come down through and plow Railroad Street? What happens when they plow Pearl Street? What happens when the state runs up and down through here?
That's been going on. I've been here for almost 6 years.
And your sidewalks have been really clean? Because he just said when,
Actually,
so when the town comes in to plow, they call Nate and them, and then they start doing the sidewalk.
the sidewalk is clean enough for one person always to get past.
Because they were coming in at the same time when they were plowing, that's what it, you see what I'm saying there?
Yeah, they had input on this.
I guess I would give it a try. We've got this winter and then we can reevaluate. Or if we get complaints, reevaluate.
Yep.
You're changing a policy or making a policy and changing the way you've been taking care of these sidewalks for how long, Roseanne? Because they've always.
Well, I
been
know
really
what
good sidewalks.
Nate's gonna tell us. I'm pretty sure it's your call. I'm just working for you.
Eric ran it by Nate. I mean, we are getting it from close to the horse's mouth.
Okay, Eric.
And
I handed this to Nate.
Yeah, well, when you hand it to Nate, did you say, Nate, there's 4 inches of snow on that and the town comes out and plows. Then there's 8 inches on the sidewalk. Is that acceptable? Did you ask him that?
No, but I said, you take it, tear it up and tell me what, your things that you want to change.
I know Nate didn't put 4 inches in there. That was
No.
your idea.
I did, I asked him to review it and come back with all his input. And there was something, I forget what it was, there was some minor changes in one of the spots that we did. Do his input, I forget what it was, but it wasn't that.
As I said, I have no real issues with, a normal everyday weekend, I guess, but it's holidays, it should damn sure be taken care of. So all I hear from most of this board is we want people to come and enjoy the village of Johnson.
Now,
So,
we can still put it in here, but just have a thing where it's understood that certain holidays are treated differently. Because but as far as overtime is concerned, there's no difference between President's Day and Christmas. But as far as village traffic, there's a huge difference. We can keep a policy, but then if there's certain days that people know about,
Yeah, I
that we
think
want to.
that's a great idea.
people going on Christmas Day shouldn't expect that some guy is giving up his Christmas morning to come plow the sidewalk.
Which holidays would you say are the big traffic on snow?
you guys go ahead and make whatever policy you want. I made it clear as plain as day.
I want
4 inches of snow on the sidewalk. After 50-something years of being clean sidewalks in this town, when we hear about all the college students, we want people in this town, we want this. And now all of a sudden, we're trying to save 10 grand on not cleaning our sidewalks. Doesn't make much sense to me when we want to blow thousands on these other little petty projects. So that's my opinion. You guys can vote how you want.
It's mostly not knowing. I want to know which are the high traffic days.
Well, we just got 60 rooms up to college filled from out-of-state people or out-of-country people. We have college kids there all weekend long. I'm just saying, you guys pick and choose stuff to play out how you want, but you're trying to save petty amount of money with
Well, I
not
don't think
maintaining our
that's a petty
walkable
amount.
village of Johnson.
And I also live by the college and I also see the college kids and there are not very many. But anyway, I think we should give it a whirl.
We need a motion.
I move that we accept the sidewalk winter maintenance policy as presented.
Is there a second?
Second,
Any more discussion?
Mr. Chair, I asked that it be put off till the next meeting earlier so that we could have time to review it and maybe come up with some a lot better idea.
All right, we'll put it off till the next meeting.
I'd like Nate to come in for that meeting and discuss this.
We can ask him, but I'm not gonna have the whole policy be, Nate's opinion. He works for us, we can respect his opinion, but we get to make the policy, I believe, and I think that's what he would agree with.
Well, we already looked it over. We
Well, I
already,
can-
it's 2 cents worth.
If we want to do that, I can go back and reiterate all the stuff that Ken thought about, 4 inches equals 8 inches when they're plowing it now and have a weight on it. Absolutely.
Yeah, we've got another, nothing is gonna change drastically in the next 30 days till our next meeting. We can, what? We also get-
I
We
brought
might be
this,
playing catch up.
but I'm not invested in it other than
Yeah.
I brought it.
I think
If you
it's a
guys
good-
want it, If you don't, it's, it doesn't hurt my feelings.
Yeah.
If you want to change it, it doesn't hurt my
I
feelings.
mean, I live in a town where everyone was responsible for shoveling their own part of the sidewalk.
Lots
You
of
got,
places are
you
that
got, if you didn't,
way. Lots of places are that way.
So one thing could be that we leave it as is, but just put a clause in that says, if there's an event that happens where we need to make sure the sidewalks are cleared, then they get cleared. We could do something like that.
Or we could just have it known that we do that, internally.
Okay,
I mean, we don't, just because it says it here as the expectations, doesn't mean that we don't do more than that when the need arises.
I think you covered a lot
okay,
I think so, too.
in this area.
yeah.
The need arises.
All right, we're gonna postpone this till the next meeting, so you wanna go over the bereavement policy
So I need to
now?
remove my, you need to remove.
I think we need to,
remove our.
Now you gotta finish the votes.
Oh. Yeah, how do you do
Or you can
Withdraw.
withdraw. your-
Withdraw.
That's what, that's
So
what
you
we're
withdraw.
You withdraw your second, and I withdraw the thing. All right. Withdraw, and we discussed it at the next meeting.
second,
Okay.
So Eric, what is the current policy?
Sidewalk?
Yeah.
There is none.
Keep it clean.
There's no written
Because I have
policy.
seen them plow when there's literally this.
There's no written policy.
And
So
it
the
would have all
one,
been
like I
melted.
said, take it back. There is a written internal policy that now supervisor has to tell you,
You plow, you plow.
right, for overtime.
Yes.
So there's not just people coming in because they want
Yeah.
to get paid.
Yeah.
So, but as far as standards and, the stuff covering like, oops, we screwed up your lawn a little bit because you lawn
Right.
stumped up too much next to the sidewalk.
Yeah.
That stuff, we don't have that.
All right, moving on to the next item on the agenda, which is the bereavement policy.
Yep.
Yeah, where's this?
So it's something we also don't have really in our personnel guidelines. That we just kind of realized was a gap when when Nate lost his grandson. And he didn't end up using any bereavement leave, but it's like, well, what is the policy? There is none. So I went and looked around to some other municipalities and harvested 3 different examples for you folks to review and decide if you want one of them.
Actually, we do have a bereavement policy for the electric. The bereavement policy for the electric is in the CBA.
Right. So, yeah, the CBA has one, the village in general does not.
Right. But for Nate, the concern of Nate, we would go off the CBA one.
Right. Right, for now, and that would be, but if we're trying to move things to the personnel policy, we need to have a policy.
Oh, yeah, I definitely agree, but that would be for 3 years dealing with the electric. We're already stuck in a CBA
Right.
copy.
Rosemary, what is the town's bereavement policy? Is it similar to what's
They don't.
Town does not have one.
town does not have one?
Right.
So in the past,
No,
people have usually either used personal days or
CTO, we call it PTO,
CTO.
combined
Okay.
time.
And
Most bereavement policies are in your family line. So it's your mother, father, stepmother, stepfather, brother, sister, and child. It usually doesn't extend to grandparents or extend to grandchildren.
So,
Eric, what towns did you get your references from?
Heinsberg, Burlington, and Southwold. Which you see, ones that are easiest to access.
Okay, so what you're showing here is you could have up to 9 days, correct?
Which you on A?
Yeah, 5 days and 2 day period. And 2 days, maybe granted if it's over 150 miles.
And who does it extend to? Because I can't read it.
No, not 9 days. So 5 days is for immediate family. You get 2 days for extended family. The additional 2 days is on either one of those if it's a long ways away. So it's either, if it's a long ways away, it's either 7 days or 4 days. That's on the A policy.
Why don't we just adopt the one we got in the CBA? Because that's actually a good one, and we already have it.
We don't do the same things with,
We could go with that.
because that might just be the, that might be the, what's the
That way, everybody's the same.
Yep.
and we probably should run it by the select board so that it's everybody instead of,
The select
We
board
should've-
doesn't have one with me.
Select board has nothing to do with us.
We're saying
know.
before we adopt one, we should have them look at it and adopt the
Oh,
same.
you guys could stop doing that. We're separate charters.
Why?
Asking the town for permission to do stuff.
No, it's not asking for.
Well, it has-
We apply them.
I'm not, but stop asking the town to do the same thing we're doing or for us to do what they're doing.
It's advising that we are doing.
That's right.
That's
Exactly.
all you need to do.
Exactly. Well, that's what we meant. Just let them know what we're doing. Because then everybody in the office is on the same page.
Yeah, so we have one for the CBA, for the crew. Let's just adopt that one over. We do have to verify some of it because there is a section in there that we have to verify a little bit and basically clarify.
So. What I'm hearing is with the, want to let the town know what's going on with a little notice. I think the suggestion would be to come back with this next meeting. And I can leave these options in and add the CBA option. And you can discuss it and possibly vote on it
Then
that
say, what do
day.
you think?
Yep.
who give it to,
Town, it's like,
yeah,
just say
I think
no.
run it.
Oh, yeah, I'll give all of them to
It'd be
Brian.
different if we didn't.
Rosemary, did
Overlap
they
with the
adopt
office.
their holiday hours?
Oh,
All right, so
weren't you just there,
did you guys know, did you know that?
still talking?
did you know-
Before we go to push into the next week, should we discuss how we want to go with the bereavement? Do we want to keep it mainline family, extended family like parents, step parents, or do we want to go grandchildren and grandparents, which is even
And robotic.
Yeah.
Maybe not grandparents, but grandchildren. Maybe. You're not supposed to outlive your grandkids.
and I get that, and I feel wicked bad on it. Just a lot of CBAs don't have it.
A lot.
I mean, a lot of them, like ours that we have, don't even have that.
But let's go back to.
A lot of businesses don't have.
Well, let's go back to we're not a business, we're a municipality, and this, the benefits for municipalities tend to be more,
And I get it, and I look at it that we are a municipality. We give them a very good CTO benefit, very good.
Very
tiers.
good.
So by them taking a few days off, we want them to use our CTO. We don't want to just keep giving them free money.
Can CTO be,
Use however you want.
go from 1 year to the next?
Yeah.
It can accumulate.
Yeah, as much.
What's the point?
I'm gonna have times your earnings, annual earnings.
One annual,
So what's
Yeah,
that?
So if you earn,
a year.
if you earn
What's that mean?
5, if you earn 4 weeks, you can carry 6 weeks over the year.
But you could
And then-
collect year after year after year.
Yeah. But if you have more than 6 weeks, when you cross
Into
the
the,
year, whatever is over gets put into extended sick bank. And if your sick bank is full, then it goes to be chronic or
Catastrophic.
And then you,
catastrophic sick bank. Both of those have.
Oh,
and
so
can you
the catastrophic
donate
are
those?
very limited.
Yes.
and Either one of
Yes.
those
Yes,
paid when you leave.
so they, that's a lot of weeks.
Money, that's why I'm saying this isn't even needed, they got it covered. And,
Well,
and. it-
once you've been here a
and-
while.
And then we're going to talk about how we wanted to show that to the select board and see what they thought of it. They didn't even adopt our holiday policy. So we have people getting paid. Rosemary gets an extra holiday and them guys.
I know, I think we should have
So-
run it,
My point was, is they had 2 meetings on it and still didn't adopt it. So
we should have talked to them before we voted on it.
Well, we
It's
talked
still-
about it before we ratified.
With the board? With the
they didn't
select board?
accept it.
But we couldn't talk to them about it because we were doing our own negotiation with time sensitive. We could not bring them in. That's the only reason we didn't bring them into it, besides, we don't need to bring them into it,
That's the first reason.
but the main reason was it was an immediate thing. We decided that night, literally that night that we discussed it all, it was because of
because of the
the
contract.
contract.
Contract was the catalyst.
So,
and they did not want to discuss it because of their contract negotiations.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, Rosemary, just looking back, has there ever been a time that you can think of when someone here has had a family member passed away when it was uncomfortable or a financial hardship on them to get the time off?
The most recent
Well,
would be
the-
Susan, correct?
We got sued.
Her mom.
At the time the board did the policy, Paul's father was in failing health, so that's, I think, the main reason it went into effect. But other than that, I can't think of anything.
I think BJ's idea has a lot of merit where, you know, a lot of places will do exactly that and try to make sure that their non-union employees get the same thing that's in the contract as far as the benefits. I mean, not the pay, but I mean, matching the union has a lot of merit.
That just streamlines things.
Mr. Chair?
It's not guessing what's happening.
I'd like to push the bereavement policy off till next year and take it up. As we have spent the village's budget limit. We've made a new hire in village manager. We've made a new hire in logistics.
You want that?
There's a lot of, I don't know if I need a motion. I'm just saying that I think we ought to push it off.
I can.
There's, we just finished the CBA.
This isn't, the bereavement thing isn't even possible, it's money.
Well, let's see, if it happens, it is. They not reading it,
Don't
they
we
get
just-
time off with pay.
Don't we didn't give Susan any time off with pay?
Her CTO contract.
Yeah.
So that's what this says, right? The contract.
No, this says this is not the CTO, this is something separate.
this is.
I mean, I absolutely adore it. What Eric's trying to do is put out good policies and everything. But at the same time, I mean, I'm not bashing Eric, but you've got to look out for us. Not looking at it the other way because it's benefiting you right now making this policy. If it's the same, I'm not saying that, I'm just saying that comes out. Then, and we just spent a lot of damn money.
Okay, so what, happens? There's, a new employee's been here for 6 months or less.
Probably good.
Any, here, not like what, here.
Say that new position.
Yeah, say her mother died.
Nothing,
I believe,
the CTO.
well, she didn't have any, she hadn't been here.
If she's been here for 6 months, she's required CTO.
That's right, but what happens if her mother dies and I'm not there?
I'm sorry for one,
Yeah.
but this,
We don't have
No.
agreement for these funds. We do for our electric.
Right. How about this? Bereavement generally resides in the personnel manual. Okay,
Mhm.
it would be good to get a weather vane on which, if any, bereavement policy should land there. And then I can put that into the personnel thing that I'm trying to draft.
So I have another question. So can people donate their CTO time?
Yes,
So,
if an employee has a medical issue.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then they don't have enough CTO time.
But not for a death.
I don't believe so. I
you
think it's a
couldn't do it
medical,
for any CTO, it's just a medical thing.
I think it's a medical for yourself or your spouse.
So. 36 hours for 6 months, how much CTO would that be? 36 hours a week for 6 months. You're normal, you're working 36 hours, how much CTO would be accumulated in that time?
Quite a bit.
That would cover these 5 days off.
Yes. Oh,
Leave
yes.
it at that. I'm just saying, guys, we have spent a lot of damn money this year, we got to smarten up at some point. I love new policies, it's gonna help our employees out. But I think we gotta implement them a little slower than what we've been jumping on, it's costing, just Nate alone would have been almost $2,000. I am not,
Yeah.
understand completely how sad I am about what happened.
You know, when you.
Actually, in Nate's case, it really wouldn't have cost us anything because he's maxed out a CTO and just dumped a bunch in the sick bank anyway. And that
Okay, well, if this policy was in effect, you would have used it, correct?
Yeah, so, yeah,
Teachers use sick time, they don't have a bereavement. And they have 15 days, 15, right? 15 days, and they don't accumulate anything.
Yep.
yeah,
And then
they do,
use- Well,
up
yeah,
to a certain number.
well, you
of
can
days.
whole carry them over, but you get 15 days at the beginning of
That's
the year, you don't get any more on top of that.
That's
You also get the summer off.
Well, sort of. If you're, not if you're an elementary school teacher.
Yeah.
We will
I mean,
not go there.
I forget what one of you asked me to, do this.
Yeah.
Yeah. You asked me to do
Yeah.
this, so I did.
Well, it's more of a discussion, I mean, it's something you never thought about.
Yeah, because it actually came up and I think me and you. had
Yeah,
a
we talked
discussion
about
on
it, and it was named.
It's hard. The feelings are there. It's gut wrenching, but in the back, it's the same with like Kenny said, it's like the pros and the cons. How do we do it?
We just handed out two extra holidays or three. They added 2 extra
Three
holidays.
for
Every employee got a raise.
I know, you agreed to that.
I did, I just said that.
Yeah, I know.
So we gotta cut the cord at some point this year.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying.
we're gonna do that.
Let's table it till,
Yep,
when are we tabling it till next year?
till,
Next, I would say until we can have time to vote on the policy, implement it for next year's budget.
yeah,
Not,
I mean, it's gonna be probably March, April, before I can bring a draft personal.
And maybe we don't need to do anything.
So
Yeah, we just automatically.
I can add it in there as the same as the CBA, and you guys can take it out if you wish.
Yeah, and guys, the way, this is what I'm thinking, and this is just what I'm thinking. So our electric guys have bereavement. It's just on your first line. It's your, like I was saying, Eric and Marla and the other two don't have nothing at all. That's why my thought was to take from the CBA and bring it to these guys to kind of put them together like we have been. Our whole thing with CBA is trying to get everybody equal, so it's not you can do this and you can't do this and stuff like that. That's the only reason I mentioned bringing the CBA agreement to this and having it restricted to immediate family, mother, father, wife, kids, and like
End of it.
done. But that was it.
like I said, I don't really have an issue with the policy. I have an issue with the monies we've spent. That's all.
we're good.
Yeah, I think so too.
So. What's,
But the time being, we've had.
Let's just go.
do you want to see a version in the draft personnel?
Put it in here because we're not putting it on, but at least it'd be nice to at least have it in there and see it. And then
Yeah, because
decide
if we don't want to continue with it, we can just remove it from that policy and the policy can still be set up, but.
Using that. Yeah. Okay.
Next item on the agenda.
On you, it's all you.
And number 5,
Job audits and reviews.
Okay. So.
no, discuss processes for documentation for employee customer interactions.
Okay, so this, my thinking was, because we deal with it at Smugs. A couple of weeks ago, I think there was an interaction, I don't know who it was downstairs, they had an interaction with a guest. I feel the way we are, the day and age we're in, if it's just like no little arguments or whatever, nothing, but if somebody's like really forceful and kind of crosses that line, I think there should be a little statement written up that we have a folder for in case anything ever happens later on down the road, or if we see there's a pattern, we do have something to where we could say to the cops, hey, this person can't be here. We have them doing this. And I know they get a lot of interactions that's negative. So I'm not talking about those. I'm not talking about anything that's like really like violent, even if it's not physically violent, but like
Threats.
yeah. I think on that kind of line, we should have some kind of documentation to protect ourselves if we get to the point of ever having they can no longer be here.
So you mean if say Nate comes back and says they were there because the power was out, they're fixing the line, the guy come out with a shotgun, threatened to shoot them all, told him get the hell off his land. That's what you're talking
I
about?
think Nate should do up a statement just to
Come back and
Wouldn't we call
Well,
it?
in that case, you just use the police report.
Correct, but the same concept, yes.
You're saying for stuff that wouldn't warrant calling the sheriff, there's a.
Someone came to the window and was just cussed and countered on all kinds.
There's something that happened in the past couple of weeks, and I can't remember who it was who was dealing with it downstairs. Yeah, and they were just, the person was belligerent to them, like very, very.
well, they
over
could
the
just
line.
get in the truck and leave then. And let them call him.
Right, but
I must not have been in the office that day because I would have remembered it and I would have stepped out.
but them are the things that I think we should just do a statement on, just,
Sometimes that's all you have to do is just come out,
Right.
so they know that there's a man here.
Yeah.
so. Even if we don't do anything, it's a record keeping thing, it kind of protects us, if it's you never know, there might be some person what we find is a habitual offender, and we at least have dates and.
So
what
you're just
happened.
looking for like a log to say,
Yes,
okay, they gotta, when he says, okay, Nate, you gotta go to Ken's house, and they're like, oh shit, Ken was parking in the way, wouldn't let us get up there. Be ready for that. That's what you're looking for,
Yes.
not a.
Who would be responsible for this, like Marla, or said she's the, or?
We get a
folder, it'd just be a folder.
Yep. We'll have to try to figure out some basic outline incident report.
Yeah, and it's like we can go.
Sheriff's Department could help you with that.
Hmm?
The Sheriff's Department could actually, Jollies could probably help you with that, because look how many people in Morrisville, they've got restraining orders against.
And we have a few at work, I can grab some loads, or we can copy off them too. So that'd be easy enough.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be sheriff.
Right, which we actually have a sheriff one too, so.
Yeah, I have no problem with
Do we need a vote on that?
that. I wouldn't think so.
No, just give me the one from Smugs.
Okay.
I'll get a couple of them.
Number 6.
Oh, yeah, the other one is just to let you guys know, it wasn't a discussion, I just let you guys know that on the 20th, me and Linda are gonna just be talking to the employees. It's just gonna be a basic, like, your needs, your wants, just to show support, et cetera, kind of like with all that stuff that went down with the village guys. Remember when, I think it was me and you that went down, they're like, now you guys are here, like before we felt like no one liked us and we're ready to stepchildren because no one talked to us. So what we're gonna do is just go in and sit down and have a conversation. It's nothing gonna be performance based or nothing like that. That's for Eric. Ours is just gonna be, we're here. What do you need? Is there anything you need? Anything you want? And that's it. And then come back to a board if there is something that's substantial.
And who's gonna do that?
Me and Linda on the 20th, we have it set up.
You'll be coming with you or?
No, just us two.
Great.
And that is it.
Okay, so I guess we're back to number 1.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, boy. So
We have time limit for this one?
Set that timer right
It
now.
was two ideas apiece.
Who wants to start?
It says right there, trustees, do ARPA funding ideas, Diane.
I know. But, you know, it can just get complicated.
Yeah.
Okay, Linda's volunteered to start.
No, quick.
Number one thing, well, actually, they're equal. One is sidewalk repair on School Street.
Can't believe you want me to.
That sidewalk is,
Can I stop you just for a second? Can we let Rosemary go? We don't need her anymore, correct? There's no need of her hanging out and listening to us.
not unless she wants to be with us.
I think she wants to go home.
Yeah, it's been a long day.
Yeah.
You have a.
Thank you, Rose.
I don't know. Might be starting.
Yeah, I mean, I saw you take a coffee.
Well, that's so I
feel
would.
better.
No,
Start
one of my nurses, this afternoon, I left, she said that a turnover at the hospital, they send 5 people home, 5 people get admitted, and then they go home, 5 get admitted. The flu, big time, big.
Thanks, Rosemary.
Okay, thank you. Have a good night.
You too.
Yeah.
Good honey.
What, you're, oh, you're still there? Oh, you
Okay. Number one is, well, the first one, sidewalks on School Street. They are, someone is going to trip. They've been grounded down once already, but they're super uneven. I mean, it's the uneven, it's not even the crack as much as the unevenness. It is bad. And I think the sidewalk should go all the way to Beard's swimming pool. The people that walk that up to Beard, stop in the summer.
That's just a big process because we're gonna have to get right of ways and everything else to get through there. It's all private property.
It's kind of like,
I understand, but
you know what I
you
remember?
do realize that one right away could cost us the entire ARPA funds. That's all I'm saying.
Something to investigate.
And where is it?
Beard swing hall, the sidewalk.
It's the one line of covered bridge.
Doesn't the town own a certain part of the road out
Yeah, 12 feet
12 feet from the town owns 12 feet?
from the center of the road. Depends on how many rods the road is.
I think it's worth investigating because there's gonna be an accident on that. People come around that corner coming from the bridge this way and there's always people walking up to that swimming hole. We made the swimming hole, we put it there, we put tables there, we made steps there. You know, we should do something about it and we can talk something about the sidewalk repair. In that.
And that's what's your second one.
The second one is the grant writer thing. I think spending money on a grant writer is gonna bring us in money. I think that, go ahead.
Turns out that. The planning commission. Does that, and it's part of the services that they provide for free.
Cool. How much
They've
have
done
you
all
done
along.
that For now. Good grief.
Just shut it up.
So do we need to give them a list of what we want or?
Our planning commission, like Paul Wood
Right?
and those guys?
Right, grants is part of their provided services.
So we still need to make.
I didn't know that.
Which absolutely is asinine. This town raised taxes and spent that much money, and that works under their control.
Well, they don't know. I mean, how, if you don't know.
Well, how is the select board with
And
experience
anyway.
on that board not supposed to know that?
So. That's really true. But, so
You're
listen,
very
but,
close to having her speechless.
yeah, totally. So would they have the time though? That's the thing.
Well,
Can be that can't.
maybe we can invite
Okay.
one of them to come to a meeting. and
Very,
talk to us.
yeah,
We should call Paul and him.
yeah.
Okay, who wants to go next?
Garage.
Ken, you're going. So
Garage.
Garage is your first
Garage.
and.
There's also.
And there was, we had Mr. Pomeroy stop in and ask us about sidewalks. And not sidewalks, crosswalks.
Cross.
And that's been tossed in the bushes, and I haven't heard, Linda was supposed to contact somebody from the state, and we haven't heard anything about that since that point. So there was a couple of options. One was 26,000, one was 18, and the other one was 12, if I remember correctly.
For the crosswalk?
Yeah.
Flashing crosswalks?
Why don't we
One of
go?
them was gonna be free by the state.
Yeah, they go out and spray white paint. Remember, they were talking about it.
Uh-huh.
Imprinted crosswalk, different colored crosswalk. Or how about we get some of them push button flashers for the crosswalks and then let the state paint them white. Don't know how much that's gonna cost, but that's,
Main Street, that'd be great to have.
yeah, if you'd have one right there about Sterling, you'd have one up by Pearl Street, and you'd have one up. Where's the other one, up by Maple Fields? No,
By Railroad Street, I think there's a cross from here too.
okay, so Railroad Street, Sterling, and Pearl Street, them are 3 crosswalks, correct? So whether we can do them all,
Maybe we get one going and people would like it so much.
I think if we, you know, one on each end, if we could do Sterling and then Pearl Street.
I don't know, better do Pearl Street, because if that new restaurant opens, there's gonna be people parking in the municipal lot.
Yep.
By the old.
So it's just, that was just an idea, like I said, I don't know how much that costs, but I know when we're talking about the crosswalks themselves, I think it was 25, 18, and
Ridiculous.
11 or something.
Yeah.
For the 3 options, but the state would paint white and wear off in 3 weeks for free. But if we had them light things there, that may be that's just a public safety thing, you know what I mean? So that's,
And
Yeah, I
some
think
of this,
the lit things outrank any kind of stuff you can do to the pavement.
absolutely, you can paint diamonds on the road and it ain't gonna matter.
some of these items, we could probably get a grant.
Absolutely, but this is just one to throw out here because
We do. We have a whole committee.
this is fun sitting there that, you know what I mean, that we could all say, yeah, it's great, it could cost us $22,000, let's do it, instead of waiting a year and a half to. That's just, no, I'm gonna throw in one other one, because I know you're gonna like this.
No, you've done two.
Well, this is a simple one, about a sign for the swimming hole and our future spot on the other side that we've been talking about.
Oh, at the townhouse.
Well, one that's down by 100C or up this end of the town, so that people know, you know what I mean? You come down Clay Hill and there's a sign that says Vermont Flannel 5 miles up the road. So it's just
Doesn't the state pay for those?
not on our road, they don't.
Not
It's
the full
on
one, not our-
Clay Hill. So if it's on the state highway, the state will put up their brown ones, like, I don't know what, the ones right in the middle of town. But
Thank you, Ken. BJ, you wanna go?
So you know, I've been diving into a whole bunch of stuff lately. I noticed, Marla has, been getting into overtime where that position usually doesn't have overtime. We're lacking on software. There's things that she's doing, which is just. She could input it in one thing and it could bring it all together, but right now, the way our software is, it's making it a lot harder on her. Even though it's not as big as all this other stuff, maybe it would be only a couple grand or something, but getting them guys more efficient downstairs to where they don't hit overtime. So they can do their work easier and it brings everything together instead of putting the same thing in 3 different spots.
now, my only concern with that is what does that qualify for ARPA funds?
I don't know. I'm just throwing things out there.
I know it had to be infrastructure. Municipality, I guess, so, yeah, I guess that could be thrown in as municipality, so, yeah.
Let's
just-
put this together.
Yeah,
And then find out
Yeah.
what qualifies and what doesn't. And so.
I'm taking out and just help us on the.
Yeah.
And the other thing is we have no walkway between Jolly's and here and Katie Wynn and down, and didn't somebody get killed recently up there or within the past year? No, coming down Katie Wynn Road there.
Well,
this summer, right? Somebody got hit, or was that over here on this one?
a couple,
Nobody's
someone
got-
got hit down
It was
here.
a while back, but
Yeah,
that,
it was one of the, I think.
that wasn't walking, it was vehicle.
I think actually somebody's got walking. I gotta look into, I actually think somebody did get hurt with that. But one of those two spots, maybe whatever one's the easiest for us and the cheapest for us, just connecting it and then maybe hit the other one later on down the road. or
There
something.
are a lot of people that walk from Jolly's.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah,
That shoulder.
again, that would be an awful idea.
Stay.
There enough funds for that.
Okay. Yeah,
So that would be one of the, if we can use a grant writer, because
There, we might
you're
get.
talking millions of dollars, it's gonna be right away up through there, and
up there.
you're gonna cut the bank back. Support the bank, get out of the state right away. There's a lot of,
They're gonna be thinking about,
it'd be horrible, they just did that road.
but people,
They're gonna do that road.
people,
Now, this way might be a different story, because that,
people
they're
are
taking off.
pushing their baby carriages and a truck is coming.
Oh, I know, I'm not saying that, I agree. I'm just saying that that's more money than we got, and
Same
with-
thing happens.
if the town gave us every penny, we still ain't touching it, so.
Same thing happens going to Beards.
Yeah.
Not even unnerving.
I mean,
Okay, well, actually, one of yours is one of mine too, BJ.
but that's
So,
a great idea.
so Diane, you're up.
so I have a lot of questions, but my two main things are sidewalks. And I would like to keep like $125,000 for a grant writer, if they can't do it, and backup money for any grants that need matching funds. But I have other questions about, the list that I sent you a while back. I don't know where we sit with some of them that we really need to do. And if we can get grants for them. For example, the sewer and electric rate hike studies. Is that grant funded or is it?
Grant, the wastewater rate study is grant funded directly through the state. We don't have to manage grant funding.
Okay, that's what I thought.
And
And the
The
electric,
electric is part of the services provided through our membership to website.
okay, so we don't have to pay anything for that.
I mean, when it comes down to filing, is there filing fee? I don't know, maybe probably
Okay,
the state, but as far as the actual, when they do research. To prevent the case is part of our membership benefit.
and then the library stormwater project, because I know that there was grant money for that. And I don't know where that's sitting right now. Do you?
that was all done.
Yeah.
You mean it's ready to do? It's not, no one has done
Yeah,
the
it's
work.
already-
And that's the town. The town had already been working on that one. It was,
I know they have part in it, but the stormwater part is us, isn't it?
Well,
it wasn't going into our system. It was just, it was something to keep the water from getting into the library. Correct, with an alarm system, it's all, it's. I can't be, I'm just quoting, trying to remember what it was, but
Let's
it's,
check it out.
it's
Yeah.
tricky, but yes, it's, I think it's, like I said, I'm pretty sure that's already in the whole kit caboodle works.
Okay.
Yeah, I could be wrong. but
Already, money is already,
It's way into the, they've already had an engineering, environmental study, everything on that,
there's.
I thought it was completed.
Yeah, there's multiple pieces in that. The actual library stormwater lines of town. The thing that relates to us is their sewer line. So their sewer service has been impacted by roots and such. They want to replace it. It's garbage. And there was discussion of redoing the actual railroad street stormwater line. That's been set aside at least for now.
Yeah, they won't do
And
that.
the town
Rip it up.
wanted to wait. They wanted to wait to pave until after we do our stormwater line work.
Which makes sense.
Well,
In a way.
yes
you have
and
to do
no.
it together, don't you?
To me, it made more sense for But then we rip up the road and then we go down and do this,
Well, if that's dug up.
right, but they wanna.
You know what the problem with that
They
is?
would rather not, I don't know.
There's a problem with Railroad Street, a concrete road.
Right.
So
Right,
there's
they want us to
there's
break.
22 inches of concrete from Main Street all the way down through
Break their-
and under our sidewalk, and it's a whole. That's a,
So, once they've broken their concrete, then maybe we'll.
Then we can go break it.
And we haven't even resolved this other issue with the town yet. The one down on River.
right. Yeah. I remember the town, and actually, we talked about this a couple of years ago. Or actually last year, I believe, when Will was still chair. About Railroad Street, and can't remember who was in here talking to us about it, but it's just the towns put it off, we're putting it off because it's gonna take some serious money. And 3/4 of a year to do it, so that's what the problem is, because it involves the bridge. So when you get to that end, the bridge is on that old concrete road. There's a whole, the bridge would have to be redone, and if I remember was part of it, because our sewer line runs under the bridge. There was a whole mess with it, and that's a major embarkment. That's like Main Street overhaul again for the village and the town.
Yeah, so, yeah, my suggestion is the village should have no interest in busting their road for it.
Yeah, no, I don't want
Well,
to do
it
that.
it would be kind of stupid, because we gotta set all manhole covers and everything, so their heights and specifications, the road needed to be raised, all kinds of stuff, so.
Okay,
So getting back to Diane's list, Diane, we're gonna give the public an opportunity to also chime in.
right.
So, some people, and you can, as part of the public, have another opportunity maybe, because this is just the two items.
Okay, sidewalks and that much money for
Grant.
grants and backup.
To that effect, I asked our, resident IT person, your wife. Because she's younger than the rest of us. And
So great. Yeah,
and her suggestion was great of just do what the town did and do a survey monkey.
Yeah,
We could actually probably just copy their format and just put it up. Yeah.
Okay. That was the other item on the agenda.
No, it's not.
It was part of the state, it was part of the side.
Didn't we have a
Oh,
meeting
no,
once
no.
for the public on, and I was in the VEPS meeting that time.
We did.
Two people came, Greg Tatro and
Lisa Cruz.
Lisa Cruz.
6 went to the town.
the two people that are really involved in everything.
And we developed the list, and I think I have a copy of it here, and it's in the minutes if anyone wants to look at it.
I gotta ask you something.
And then the beautification committee.
But I get my turn. I haven't got my.
Right, I just wanted to say beautification, so 3 entities.
I'm here for that.
So my turn is a second on Ken's for the garage. And a second on yours for the, specifically, I think the most important sidewalk, although it might be the most expensive, is the one that gets the most traffic, which is the one to continue on to Jolly's or the trailer park. And again, I think that one, maybe if there's a chance of getting, it would need bigger money.
Yeah, and the ARPA can only work as part of the match for that one. That's millions. Millions.
But yeah, I mean, I just fear the people without
Maybe we
dark
can ask-
clothing. And
maybe we should just ask them to make the road wider there. Do that. Make the road wider.
We asked them to
We
do
don't
something
like-
with our crosswalks, and they gave us price tag.
Path going down.
That might work.
You just say we need
Lanes are
a
huge.
bike lane.
yeah,
Just say we
There
need
you
a bike
go.
lane down going to that trailer park and they're gonna have it all torn up this summer anyway.
Why?
But again, you gotta remember one thing, it's all about what their right of ways are. Up by me and Diane's gonna have her lawn that stay right away.
Mhm.
And that's just the way it was when they bought it, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? So if they have an expanded right of way, the state has to gain a right of way. So they're either
That
gonna
is
do
a
eminent
state-
domain or pay out the box.
From the riverside there, though.
Well, they can always narrow the lane some.
Yep, just to throw out real quick to revolve on your guys' idea about that sidewalk, there's also another option for that. So the VAST and I believe the Trails Committee or something, the hiking road committee, we're talking about the old bridge that crosses. Now, that's a bunch of grants and that bridge would be in. Whenever it's easy extension because we got the rail trail right there. There's no real extension, but we've added away. Now it's not Main Street, but that's just
It's all
another option to connect that way because really it all depends on VAS. They own the right of way for that thing, for that old bridge. So
But it's getting to that, right?
they own it right away, right?
I have a
Where would you get to the bridge from one?
Really quick. And then
I have a
come
question
right
in
in
that.
by the smokehouse.
We kind of had a little heated discussion on the cold spring. Can we use any of this to make this cold spring
We don't want.
good water?
We don't want to because it's not a spring. Everybody's remember it's culvert stuck in the ground with a sub pump that pumps the water up. It falls in that grate and goes back into that.
I'm just seeing like.
So it's a recirculating,
all together.
the same clear, it's a recirculating mud puddle.
They
Just
need to
remember
put-
that.
They need
It's
to
not
put
a spring.
UV light.
We need to hook into a spring in that bank somewhere, so.
No, there's a cemetery above it.
That just makes the water taste.
I'm just saying, it's a recirculating mud puddle, it's not a spring. If anything, we should take down the old spring sign.
Or put a UV light.
Moving on with the agenda,
It's not that expensive.
so I think we got this item number one covered, right? We've got, everyone's put in their two things, which don't add up to 10. 'cause we're still not efficient.
Yeah.
And so, and your idea to survey the people, the rest of the citizens,
Monkeys, the
Monkey
monkey,
something?
it's called. Survey monkey, survey monkey.
we'll put out the list of all the different, from the meeting we had with Greg and then Lisa, and then any things we want to add, and we'll put it all on the list and let people ask people the same thing we just asked ourselves tonight, like pick your top two things, something like that.
Another option would be we could put that in for those meeting for voting. time.
Okay,
Put it out as a separate flyer like they used to do the dole ball.
Yeah,
I mean, you think we're gonna have it in person this year?
I say we should, the town is. There's no reason not to, you know what I mean? And there's only gonna be 4 people showing up.
So May 24th of this year, the fatality of that, Rooney Mason walking down
Oh,
Katie Wynn.
Lizzie and I know him, we already helped him a couple of times. Yeah.
And he's not the first one, got killed going down through that.
That
That's
happened,
a bad.
he staggered out into the middle of the road drunk, and it was tragic,
So
he was wearing all dark.
the sidewalk went down.
Rodney, yeah, he was,
you would have fallen off that.
he.
Like I said, I'm all for sidewalks getting up there. That's a great idea.
Poor guy
Just-
that hit him.
That's a tough spot.
Yeah, poor person.
But there's not, a sidewalk wouldn't prevent that.
Yeah. That's
I
just
have
a
a
tough one
question,
with the banks.
on Pearl Street. By the Studio Center's writing studio. Where the big huge puddles are in the road, you probably don't ever go that way, but they're huge puddles. I don't know who's responsible, and Pearl Street Bridge. So if you're walking along any of that,
To town.
it is town, that's what I was wondering, I didn't know, I
They
thought.
are the ones,
State Main Street.
I knew it was a state, but I didn't know whether it was considered village or town, what, it's, so
Town
because it's the road, the sidewalk's ours.
Town plows all roads
I
including.
know,
village
the
roads.
sidewalk's ours, but the road is the town's.
so to get rid of those puddles. What do you do?
Yeah, how do you? get
Grind the
rid of
road and
those?
pave it.
Repave it so it's level, so that it,
No, never left.
Well-
Levels the.
well,
But won't it just puddle somewhere else?
It's, in the ditch.
Don't, yeah, just
Into our sewer, into our.
the river, that's what.
Catch basin.
and where's our catch basin? For that area, do you
I
know?
think there's one on the corner of school and Pearl.
Yeah, I think there is.
And I think there's one on the corner
I
of
think there's one on
Pearl
But
and
I
Main.
think it goes down, where?
on the corner of Main. There's one.
All right, let's get back on track. I'm
Well,
hungry.
So,
Got an email?
I
we
get that
need
working.
to go into another executive session.
Before that, can I get 10 minutes just to throw a few things at you guys that I found and just kind of get your feedback on?
Okay, a minute.
Well, it might not even be 10 minutes.
Good.
So I'm looking over UniFirst. We are paying in some incidents, for example, we pay $200 a week for uniforms to be cleaned. There's some weeks
How many
that
people?
how
How many?
or the crew 4. There are some weeks we have $237 of damage, 237, 118, 347, which is more than what we're paying. I asked, when was it? I asked me to look into the insurance. It was like a month ago. I haven't heard nothing back, so I called them today, and we do not have insurance with them, and I feel we should probably get insurance with them.
Wait a second, insurance with who for what?
UniFirst, they do the
Yeah,
uniform.
clean, yeah.
Yeah, they have some sort of insurance that covers damage and things like that. So you're not, if something gets damaged, like we just, for example, let's say this one. So this one, lost and damage, we paid $126 for a pair of pants. We paid $220 for
Wait a second.
button
We
fit
pick what
jeans.
to do those pants.
Red, torn,
It just says,
just,
yeah,
unlocked.
Yeah.
Well, they're not gonna run around with clothes.
No, I'm saying,
or damaged, lost. There's some that are lost, some that are damaged. And we have to pay full price on them. So the
after
guys.
they've been washed 50 times, we have to pay full price.
Yes, but so I was talking to the call guy, our rep has not contacted me back yet. But the call guy did say there is insurance, we rent, there is options for us to buy and use them as a cleaning service too. So there is different options out there, but we're getting hammered with damage and lost cost, which I'm not blaming on the guys. I'm just, is there any way for us to mediate it where we're not, is there a different avenue to go?
One of the things that I've talked to Nate about, and this is not immediate, is when we do the refurb, we're gonna call it rebuild of the garage.
Washer and dryer.
Washer and dryer hook up with a good, like industrial type washer and dryer. We purchase uniforms and they service them themselves.
Yeah.
Right.
And that'd be a good one later on, but
Right, that's just
What-
what I'm saying, long term.
you want to look into this and just see what would the insurance cover these costs? Because it's not every week, it's
Right.
like once a month we're getting hammered with these other, and some of them are getting expensive, but
So we rent the uniform.
we rent the uniforms.
BJ, you got a month's worth right there?
I've got a whole bunch of months worth.
Okay, how much is a month in total?
It's about $200 to $800 a month. And for example, December, I have damages for 237.
They're expensive clothes because they're all
Yeah.
fire rated.
Sure.
Yeah,
Can they go in from washing machine?
yeah, because it's cotton, it's rated as cotton.
It's just, it's just.
It won't melt.
You just have to be mindful of what detergent you use.
So do the guys have a set of uniforms and they send them in to be cleaned?
They have
They get
two
the
sets.
exact same things right back.
Yeah, they have two sets. So there's one while the one's being cleaned, and it's every Friday that they're doing it.
2 weeks worth.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's nothing on the guys. I mean, they're doing their
Right,
thing.
right, right.
It's just,
Yeah.
is there a way with this company that we can go a different route and maybe save a few $100s? I don't know how much your insurance is. Like I said,
Well, I know NEMS, and when I worked for the Moyle Ambulance, we used to buy from UniFirst. And I don't understand why we're supplying uniforms and cleaning them. And I don't know if that is in a policy, the
It is
CBA,
definitely referred to in the CBA somewhere.
that we have to supply all
I
clothing
think I
and
remember
water.
saying that, Eric.
I just,
Oh, everyone's gonna CBA.
Yeah, I got you.
yeah, I'm not.
even with that, we
My
can-
question is that it costs me $800 a month and we go by 12 months. I can buy you guys a shit ton of warm fire retardant clothing
Right.
from UniFirst, embroidered, logoed, patched, whatever you wanted.
Yeah.
And we're gonna save a lot of money.
well, this is UniFirst.
Yeah, it's pretty,
Not UniFirst, I can't remember the name, Century Guard or, okay, you know what,
Yeah.
EMS,
Yeah,
where it all
EMS,
comes from, it don't come from UniFirst or whatever.
Yeah.
so we have plenty of leeway in how we manage it. The reporting is, the village agrees to pay all necessary costs of uniforms for the department.
No.
So.
Yeah.
I accomplished that, it's very flexible.
And when they did it, I don't think,
Washing machine buying their uniforms, I like that idea.
when they did it, I don't think really anybody cared too much about this, you know what I mean? And we're trying to figure out this money thing, so this is just something that, there's different avenues that we should look into and think about.
Thanks for looking at that.
Another thing.
Sorry, just to throw it out real quick, he just said it was the average $800 a month.
Yep.
That's 10 grand for a year, without the damages of $200-300 extra in there.
No, it's false.
And then the funny thing is we got January and we're paying to clean Troy's.
Oh,
We're what?
Troy don't have any,
Troy.
so get them, that's where we gotta,
So Eric, you want to look at it, column on that one?
Yeah.
You know what,
Okay.
if you get a washer and dryer, those guys are gonna want that washer and dryer in this building. Cause they're gonna want the girls to do their laundry.
well, then they'll have to bring your lunch down, because I don't think.
Why?
Next, next thing I want to just run by, have we got the phone from Troy yet? Or are we still paying on that phone bill? Because we were supposed to have got it back when we got the computer, right?
Thought Rosemary said it come back, I could be wrong.
I don't think it has, so we have to look into that one.
So, yep, just basically, we're not supplying Troy a phone.
Well, in our letter to Troy that Eric and I are gonna compose tomorrow morning, we can mention the computer and phone and any other stuff.
Yeah, I mean. Yeah, I'm not sure the computer status if he has one.
I think the computer we have,
He was using Meredith.
But
yeah,
but there is village software that I don't know where it exists other than on his computer. The estimator software, I'm sure we paid for it,
I'm sure.
so.
What was his end contract date?
Third and next
3rd
month.
of February.
So that's exactly 2 weeks after she starts.
And start.
So that gives them 2 weeks to.
So I would like to check into the phone just because if we are still paying for it, we need to get that back. And the last thing, so this is where I didn't know if it should be executive, so if it gets to the point where I'm saying something, I'll try not to stop me. So Troy's on teaching Nate everything, right? I was looking into invoicing coding. So basically like a uniform first paper, you get it. Okay, this goes to uniforms, you put a code on it and it gets billed to that. Something that's pretty easy for me to do. I guess what we're doing with Fisher, Johnson Farm and Garden, any invoices Nate's collecting, he drops off here on Friday. Troy comes and picks it up, codes them, gives them back to us. And it looks like, I'm assuming it looks like we're paying for Troy to drive here, pick up the papers, do them, and it's very little paperwork, like 15-20 minutes of coding. So I just want to try, not saying anything on Troy. If I was Troy, I would do it too. I just want to try to get this stuff back to Nate on the easy coding stuff like UniFirst or Johnson Farm and Garden, things like that, because they're going to go to the basics.
Well, does Troy have to come pick up something anyway, no matter what?
No, I guess he comes to get them every Friday and then drops them off on
And that's
Monday.
the only thing he comes for?
Yes. And it's for these invoices, and I've collected them all and was looking at them. And I thought they might, like when I worked at White Mountain, would have a whole sheet and you have to code every single line, and they're not. They're just like 6 of these papers are all the same code. It goes to 1. So it's like very fast coding. So,
And there aren't that many.
and there's not that many, and we're getting 2.5 hours. You get about 20 minutes of coding. That's why I'm assuming it's the travel. And I don't blame him. If we're having him come and get it, you should get papers, travel, but we shouldn't
Is
be,
that something?
shouldn't be
Ian-
putting that out.
That's something Ann should be doing because she was gonna code all parts and stuff, so that's
Yeah,
considered.
Well, this ain't just parts. This is things that
As
Nate's day to day.
as of the 3rd, Troy won't be doing.
So it only affects like a couple more weeks?
Right.
Okay.
That's
Right, but I
Ian-
wanted to bring it to your attention because if this is going to Ann, it's going to Ann. If it's not, my thing is the day-to-day stuff, we have to get Nate used to doing day-to-day invoices.
Right.
Anything at, like you're saying, like anything, charts and all that, that have to be in inventory. Yes, but this day-to-day stuff, we really need to keep him doing. And that's it, just kind of bringing it off to your attention.
All right, so, the last item on the agenda is a executive session to approve the contract.
Do we need an executive session? We agreed to terms.
We just are gonna vote on it if everyone is happy with
That's
it.
what I'm just asking.
Vote, the vote's gotta be in public, so if you wanna just call the motion.
I mean, if anybody wants to go in and discuss it further, but we all knew the agreement.
I've reviewed.
It all look the same as what we talked about?
It's straight.
It's accurate to what we agreed on. I have no need to go in unless somebody else does.
I'm good.
All right, a couple of days, straight up, and we fixed them and they're good.
Call a vote, and before I call this vote, I want to give a big shout out to BJ for all his work he did.
Keep you around for a minute.
I told you it's worth something. Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion.
Go ahead.
A motion, we set contract with the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers Union, Local Union 300 and the Village of Johnson's collective bargaining agreement.
Second.
Do I need to put numbers out or
No,
this gets
it's as
public info?
presented.
As
Any more
presented.
discussion on Ken's motion? I'll call the vote.
Aye.
Aye.
That work for you,
I vote aye
Donna?
as well. It's unanimous.
Did that work for you?
Okay. So on the back cover is where you gotta sign. They have you do two of them, so we have, I can give them one and we still have one.
So when you guys speak with Troy, I think you
I got
got
this, and then I already had all the information in case you guys wanted to see it.
What's what?
if he wants to bring it in, and if not.
I set aside, take care of it later, and I never do.
Choice, you know what I mean?
Yep.
If he don't want it, we're not gonna keep him till third,
Right.
as long as he gets 2 weeks notice, I guess.
Yep.
As long as
I
fair.
think we should-
Hopefully he stays.
Word that so that he's,
You guys aren't doing this in person, you're just gonna,
we're gonna send him an email.
I would ask him to come in. I personally would, I mean, I'm not telling you to do it, I'm just saying that. I think it would be better, because then you can ask him to assist her to
Yeah.
get her caught up to speed. He may say no, and that's when you just agree that we're gonna end this contract in 2 weeks, or contract.
Hopefully he does. Hopefully he's willing to
I
help.
hope he does too, but. Like I said, he's,
We have to realize that maybe.
It's gonna cost, yeah.
Done, right?
yes, he's gonna charge us to come here, and what it is.
Yeah, yeah.
I think that would be better in person discussion, that's all. Especially what you tell him who it is, and if you hire him back.
Right.
May work out, you know what I mean, for us in the long run.
It's part of recognizing, you tell like, that's like, refer to.
Well, there's no names,
No.
just,
Do you think Troy will want to work with her?
I won't say whether he will or not, because I don't know. Really up to Troy, you know what I mean, I,
Sure.
Troy don't hate us, I think Troy's done us right for what we asked him to do.
It was an.
He knows her, she hired him, I think it wouldn't bother him.
That's what she
Yeah,
said.
so I think it would, you know, but he may not, so then we just end the
Yeah.
contract in 2 weeks when she starts.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Oh,
Yeah, that's not my.
What happened?
Is,
okay, we have to get signatures again.
Why?
It's just a typo, it says 2020.
all right, well, so we can just stop.
Did I motion that?
We can just stop in the office and do it.
I'd like to motion that the chair signs for the village. You'd have to check with Rosemary and make sure it's legit, because sometimes she don't let us do that.
Right, we can move it and I'll check it.
So I motion the chair signs the union agreement for the village.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. There you go, Steve, you're the one with good. You do that, I know what you're talking about.
there another motion?
I motion adjourned.
Is there a second? All in favor?
I.
Good job.
think it was-